Good morning. I'm going to paint Grand Central Station this morning. Hope you're having a great weekend. I'm travelling tomorrow morning, so I thought it'd be fitting to paint the station. There's a cracking ticket booth there where there's like a gold clock on the top, and obviously you've got the arch windows at the back. And so anyway, I'm gonna paint Grand Central Station. I'm gonna try and keep it really loose. Start off with pen if I've got any ink in there. It's not looking very promising. Okay, let's try this pen. So I'm just going to roughly mark it out with a pen, and then make it really loose, but trying to just capture the essence of the place. It's the hustle and bustle of people travelling everywhere in America, and it's a cracking old building. So this is kind of a smooth paper. I'm going to paint in gouache. And we'll see how we get on. But I haven't even packed for my trip tomorrow. I'll worry about that one later. But my show is, the preview night is on Thursday. And so I'm heading out there tomorrow and help set up the show. I think there's about 30 of my paintings there, maybe a few more. They all were shipped over on a container, but the exhibition is at Chase Contemporary Art Gallery in Chelsea, which is a great space. And for my work, big walls, big white walls, and they sit really well on the space. So I'm just sketching out. So we got I'll just keep the pen moving. So this is the ticket booth here. There's a few people buying tickets. It's always absolutely packed. I took a load of photographs from this spot, and I had a tripod with me, and I was asked to politely put it away and stop taking photographs. You need a permit in America or in New York for taking photographs, and obviously I didn't have one, so that was that. Obviously you can take photographs if you handheld the camera, but obviously because it's quite dark in that space, you needed a tripod. Okay, so that's pretty much the sketch done. There's a lot of light coming through this window here, so I'll make sure that I remember that when I paint. But I'm thinking of actually painting this very loosely, so I'm going to wet the paper and see what basically happens. I'm going to paint it in gouache, like I said, so I'll just show you the palette. I've got the primary colours, actually, yes, that's a darker blue. I've used silver as well. I've got primary yellow, primary red, and there's black. But I'm not sure if this ink will run. No, it's okay. So I'm just going to wet the paper to start with, and that means the paint will spread and kind of go where it wants to. So I'm really wetting the paper. This is just clear water. And then I'm just going to mix up some tones. It is quite a dark place in Grand Central Station, so I'm going to keep it quite dark. Obviously darker on the edges, and so your eye is, so if it's dark around here and here, and lighter here where the light source is, so there's light coming through that window. That's the idea anyway. Let's see how we get on. At this moment in time, I'm not worried about making anything perfect. It's just get some paint down and you can work into it. By wetting the paper, it just makes everything softer. The paint has a mind of its own, so it goes off in directions which I really like. If there is any questions at all, please fire away. I can see the screen, so I'm just literally getting a wash down. It's a warm tone. Darker on the edges, so I'm just going to darken up. There's always a reflection. This floor is really shiny in the Grand Central Station, and so it's good to, I don't know if you can see that side. Yeah. How many pieces do I paint a week? Well, for the daily painting, obviously one a day, but I also obviously paint for my publisher and what have you. So I do paint a lot, pretty much, well, every day. And I've got a lot on. I've got an exhibition in London on the 21st of March. All those paintings are done already, but I just love painting, so it's not a chore to me at all. There's always something to learn. But I paint a lot. So I'm going to start putting in the people, and then we get a nice, we get a nice reflection. So I can add detail to these people as I go. It's just getting suggestions of lots going on. I've kept this back area light because that's another light source. So I'm constantly thinking about where the light is. There's some steps going up there, and I'll really crank up the light in a bit. My dog here wants to say hello. Polly, say hello. I've obviously had a show in Manchester, but there's nothing on the cards at the moment. Maybe towards the end of the year. So the paper is kind of already dried, so it's losing that looseness. But I can re-wet things, and the paint will spread again. So this is the ticket booth. And then there's two people. Let's put them in here. Shadows, or reflection, sorry. There is a small amount of shadows going on here. And then cool. Right, I start work at 9 o'clock in the studio, and I'm there till 6 o'clock, 5 days a week, and then sometimes I work at weekends as well. But yeah, so I'm there quite a lot. I'm going to put some light in the window now, so let's put that in. And then I'll think about putting the light here. And then so I'm putting light in the other two windows, but not as bright. I want your eye to be drawn towards the centre. Okay, and then again a reflection of the window here and here. Okay, so a lot of this this painting is from memory. I've got sketches as well, which I use, reference sketches. I sit there and paint and sketch all the time. But it's funny how when you are just doing it from memory and sketches and what have you, it starts off being one way that you thought, and it ends up being completely different. I quite like that. So now I quite like that, the way that's coming on. I'm just going to loosen things up a little bit and re-wet the paint, and it's just basically going to spread and go wherever it wants to go. And I'm going to do that now. So this is a fun bit. It just makes it more abstract and more impressionistic, and I don't know, I just like the way that goes. So I'm just adding more light. That's the clock there. You can see how this is spread, and it just makes it less refined, which I think really works well. There will be areas that are sharp light, but I don't know, it's just got a nice feel to it. No, I keep all my paintings. I sometimes rework paintings. So if I come back even a few years later and I can rework stuff. Now and again I'll throw one out, but not very often. So I'm going to create more of a floor here. That's cool. going to start refining the people. So they're just tiny little brush marks. Work a little bit more on the ticket booth. Back to it. So it's his head. I've looked at the forecast for New York, and it's going to be snowing when I turn up, which would be quite interesting. And then it's going to be so cold. It's like a couple of the days is going to be -8 or 9. So it might be tricky painting outdoors. So all I'm doing now is just refining shapes to make them look like people, and hopefully you're not finding it too boring. Just add in some more paint to the palette. Lots of light coming from this. It's a walkway to another platform down here. There isn't much red in this piece, so let's just put a little bit of but if I re-wet this, the light that I've just put in here, that'll be quite cool. And here, because then it will spread down this way. Just make it a little bit looser. And it will act as if it's the reflection. And I can refine the people while the paint is still wet, and it will just create that looseness that I'm looking for. So there's lots of lights along. Okay. So I'm going to just start to refine. I think the paint is dry enough for me to add a little bit more detail to the people that kind of just disappeared. Because the paint is still wet, it just goes very soft. So it's creating the distance. Mustn't forget the reflection. That's that's what I was after. It was a little bit too harsh before, so it's much better. This paint, the paper here is dry, so whatever I'm putting in now is a lot harder, which obviously they're closer to us, so that's perfect. make that more abstract, because I don't want this to dominate or draw your eye to it. So it's a good tip just to wash out areas if they're not important to the piece. Cool. So all I'm doing now is just working out where needs a little bit more work. The clock would, I've actually got a gold pen, which I'm going to do a little bit of work with pen afterwards, after it's all dry. Cool. So I'm just going to soften up the bits on the edge here, just to make your eye more focused on the center area. So I really want to just emphasize this strong light here. And then this is a little bit wet here actually, so I shouldn't be doing this, but I'm going to do it anyway. I can always work over it later. I just want to lighten this area up. That's okay. And then with clear water, just spread the light. There we go. So your eye is going to be fooled into thinking this is really bright here, Well, that'll kind of do it, really. I'm going to let it dry and then maybe work on a few areas. Like I said, I want to work on this, but I suppose I don't. Yeah, it's still too wet for me to work on. That'll take sort of 10 or 15 minutes to dry, and then I'll finish it off with a little bit of pen work. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed that, and that's where I'll be going on Monday or tomorrow. And yeah, I shall post a few things while I'm out in New York, and check them out. And yeah, thanks for watching. Have a great Sunday, and see you soon. Bye.